Coco and Breezy, welcome to Resilient Retail. I am sorry if I sweat and fangirl and cannot keep my cool during this interview. You guys are such idols, such badass women, and I'm so excited that you guys are here. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here. I
awesome.
Can't story. And you have an interview as well.
Oh, thank you. So just to get started, can you tell the audience a bit about who you are and your brand and what you guys do?
Yeah, so we're co-founders of Coco and Breezy Eyewear, which is an optical and sunglasses company. We are DJs and producers, and we're also co-founders of Lorca, which is like a real estate project where we do short-term rentals along with two of our other friends. And we're just two badass women.
Yep, you said it. So I know you guys have like such a cool background to the brand. You guys are obviously twins. You grew up together, which is just, it's an interesting combo, I think, and an interesting business adventure to do it with your twin. When did you guys start? At what age did you start thinking about starting your own business, and what were kind of like the emotions and the conversations going on during that time?
I mean, we always wanted to be entrepreneurs, and we always knew that we wanted to start a business together. We just didn't know what it was. But I mean, you can even say when we were like 7 doing lemonade stands, like we really made lemonade stands and Kool-Aid stands. Yeah. Actually, it was like making lemonade and Kool-Aid stands, and we would sell them for like $1. And that was like the start of our entrepreneurship at like 7 or 8 years old. But it's also interesting that Coco and I actually like genuinely share all the same passions. And we share the same passions, but we're great at different things. And so I think that's what makes it beautiful, because she's better at a lot of things I'm not great at, and I'm great at things that she's not great at. And so we kind of just come together and make magic. We divide and conquer.
I love that. Now I'm gonna ask you guys to go deeper into that. Coco, can you tell me what is Breezy's main strength and what does she really bring to the team? And then vice versa, Breezy, what is Coco's main strength that really creates that magic that you guys are talking about?
Breezy is a risk taker, and she also does not take no for an answer. And she has this personality. Everyone calls it the Breezy. Like everyone knows when Breezy's doing the Breezy. And the Breezy is, what's the Breezy? There's a certain facial expression you do when you're ready to go in. And so for Breezy, when it comes to negotiating, I let her hold it down because she's not afraid to lose something. And I think it's so important that when you negotiate, because you know your worth, sometimes you don't negotiate your worth because you're afraid that you're going to lose the project, or you're afraid you're going to lose the bag. And Breezy's personality is a little aggressive, but it's I love it though. Literally, we wouldn't be living in New York if she wasn't like, Coco, let's move to New York in 2 weeks. It's nothing. And I'm like, no. She's like, yes. Or when we got our first office in Manhattan, and we don't have investors, we're self-funded. When we first got the office, Breezy was like, Coco, we should do it. And I'm like, I'm over here scary. I'm like, no, I'm nervous. How are we gonna take care of it? And so everyone needs a Breezy in their life. Coco, she is a perfectionist, which can kind of slow us down at some points, but it also can help us grow because she really pays attention to detail. And I'm proud of her because she actually has found the balance and how to be a perfectionist and how to still get shit out. Because sometimes being a perfectionist slows you down. But Coco, her attention to detail and her mindset and how she's so able to manage multiple projects, and she also can see the future in a project, is admirable. Thank you.
I feel like I need a Breezy in my life because I am just a raving perfectionist, and it is a constant struggle to be like, it's okay, just do the thing. You don't have to be perfect. Yeah. I think that's a total normal thing.
Right. Breezy's let's just go do it and get it done. She just wants to get things done. And sometimes you have to get it done. You can't keep at the end of the day, if you keep waiting, you never know if it's gonna work or not. So you have to get it out not perfect, just to test it at least. Yeah, you'll never know. I think we as creative people and being business people, my creative hat wants to be perfectionist, but my business hat wants to just get something out to get feedback.
Yeah. And especially being a Black woman owned business, I feel like you're facing even more struggles than most businesses do. And so it's probably actually pretty hard to have that mindset of like, let's just go fucking do it because we're going to do it when you have so many things stacked against you. So what has that been like, kind of balancing that like go get 'em attitude with also the reality of the world, which is not always great for you guys?
I mean, in the past, we used to be very, we used to feel, we felt like go-getters, but we also felt like there was a wall. And we felt like maybe we shouldn't do this because this person's going to do that. And, you know, this person's judging me. And that wasn't a great feeling because I felt like I couldn't maneuver the way I really wanted to maneuver, because you have people that are treating you so much different. Like our everyday life experience is so different being founders and being Black men founders. Being Black in this world that we're maneuvering in, I think that I'm happy where we are today, that I'm confident now to feel like I can be outspoken. You can't tell me anything now. And now I feel like I know that like my voice is going to be heard. And for the people who don't want to hear my voice, they're just not for us.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited that people are being more open-minded, and I'm at the point where like it's not my job to teach anybody either. I think everyone needs to research and understanding what like systemic racism is, and like how much that trauma has affected us, even as like we can be as smart and as business savvy, but we're still dealing with some of that trauma on an everyday basis.
Yeah, it's just so much extra weight to carry around with everything you guys already have. And I know you guys were kind of raised in Minnesota. My husband's actually from Minnesota. I went to school in Iowa. I also grew up in Texas. So I'm sure you can understand, like, I have seen the culture around racism. I've seen how cruel it can get. I obviously haven't had to experience it myself, but I do know that it is such a strong force that one, push you guys to get out of your bounds and go find your business. And it kind of led you to doing glasses in general. But how else do you think kind of those experiences helped shape the brand as it become and who you guys are, and all of this movement that you've built? Do you think is it something that you kind of look on as, you know, I'm kind of thankful that I went through this, or God, I really wish we hadn't have gone through this, or, you know, it's obviously got to be somewhere in the middle of there, but I'm curious kind of what those experiences, especially at a younger age, really impacted the way your business came about.
So I'm always grateful for any experience I go through in life. It always shapes me to be the person I am today. And so I never look back at that. And I think that Coco and I are twins, so we were able to maneuver as a unit and stay strong. So I always say that we almost like we're able to stay strong for everybody. And we're willing to take certain sacrifices and break certain generational curses within our families. I think the beautiful part is that our brand and our story and our products, it really shines through. And we bring together such a beautiful community of so many different people that come from so many backgrounds. But I think the beautiful part is that they come together because in some form, they always felt like they were outsiders within their space, whether it's, you know, us who grew up in Minnesota, born in the projects, or Sally, who, you know, used to be a conservative and now she is Black Lives Matter, and now she loves her Coco. She's the #1 Coco and Breezy fan. You know, it's like you have all these different people that come from different backgrounds, and our glasses and the story behind our brand, it brings people together. And I think the beautiful part too is that even the sort of people that are attracted to our company, like we either get interns or new employees. Somehow we don't put ads out and say like, hey, we want an employee that's part of the LGBTQ plus community, or we don't say like, you know, we're hiring someone with disabilities. No, What we do is we create the environment, and somehow we always attract people that no one else, that people just have not given them a chance. And we've had so many different sorts of people that were either employees or interns or contractors that come from all different backgrounds. And when they say, hey, they're like, what's the work uniform? And I'm like, we have a very strict work uniform. They're like, what is it? I'm like, be yourself.
I love that.
You know, can I say something important as well? Is that I think a lot of times companies, they strive to want to have a diverse team, but they don't create the environment that makes people feel comfortable to be a part of that team. And naturally, our brand and our company, kind of what Coco was saying, we naturally give that energy as founders. And we also give people chances. You know, not everyone has the access to build up their resumes to a certain point.
We
right?
didn't go to college. We never worked in corporate or never interned anywhere.
So
Yeah.
what if we look like trying to hire somebody that they might be so talented, but they don't have a college degree or they don't have corporate companies on their resume? So we love bringing people up.
Was there, as you guys were kind of building the brand and designing glasses, was there ever an aha moment where you kind of locked in and you're like, this is what the brand really represents and this is what we value? Or is it kind of an ever-changing thing? Because I know for retailers who are just starting out, who have, 1 store, 2 stores, honing in on a brand value and becoming like an actual brand is actually a pretty tricky thing to do. It's pretty common in the e-commerce world, less so if you are, the cafe owner 2 blocks away. So at what point did you guys feel like, okay, we know what this brand represents? Or is it just not that knowing? Is it just evolving with who you are as people?
We started the brand before even having a product. And I think that's the beautiful part is that, the Coco and Breezy brand started a long time ago, being outsiders from Minnesota who used MySpace as a platform to express our style. And that's when the brand was built. We're in 2020, it's easy to make a product, but it's not easy to make a brand. And with D2C being so accessible, people are very quick to put a cute branding on something, but that is not longevity. So it is very important to understand like what your brand value is and actually live through that inside and out. And you have to live through that within your company as well.
Yeah. And I think this is a really powerful lesson to think about is when you're marketing your brand, whether you're D2C, whether you are a single brick and mortar owner, it really comes down to this. You're not just selling products, you're selling a story, you're selling a space, and you're selling something for people to connect to. And I think with the shifting tides in the industry of retail, where it's much harder to get people to come shop because people are not just walking into stores, is really grasping onto that being bigger than whatever is in your 4 walls as a store. And something that I know you guys have talked a lot about, but there was this struggle when you first were trying to get into wholesalers with your glasses where they didn't want to carry them because there were, quote, too many Black and brown people in the ads, and they didn't want to put that in their wholesalers. But you guys didn't let that change your vision or execution. And I'm sure this comes around to Breezy's just like, you know what, we're going to do it the way we want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so amazing, and you didn't cut corners on your brand and you stayed so true. Can you tell us a bit about that experience and how it kind of helped you shape your own brand and then eventually building out your own storefront?
It took us a while to build the confidence and like to keep that energy. But the type of energy I'm on now for 2020 is I'm just going to be unapologetic. So we have had stores tell us like, oh, your brand is too Black because you have Black and brown models, and it will go worldwide if you put more Caucasian models on there. That's problematic. That's an issue. That's like very problematic. And I was like, well, I would gladly not take your account. But our glasses are so hot that they wanted them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
everyone is buying our glasses.
Everyone's buying them from everywhere. And so I think that what we as people need to do, and people who claim to be allies, they need to change up their advertisement behavior, because our allies are so used to buying products that tell their story and that they see their faces. And we buy products that we don't see our faces. So
our story's not being told.
Our story's not being told.
Did you guys always know you wanted to do a retail aspect of the brand, or did it kind of just come naturally with getting an office space, or, that experience of people just kind of walking up to you on the street and being like, can I buy those sunglasses off of you? Did it spark at some point like, oh, if we have this stuff out somewhere and we have a space for them to come, we're going to sell? Or was it kind of a serendipitous thing that you ended up with a showroom?
Yeah, it just worked out because we're like, if we're going to have a space, how can we also make it lucrative as well? And also, how can we meet people? Because we were, at this point now, we're in almost 400 stores, but we can't get the feedback from the customers. And so I think that it's even more of a cool experience to have a showroom where we can actually get real life feedback. We thrive from feedback.
At the end of July, you guys did a curated pop-up at Showfields featuring 10 Black businesses, including Coco and Breezy. All the brands got to keep 100% of the profit since you guys helped cover that space expense. How did you think to do this, and why was it so important for you to do this kind of in-person curated pop-up?
originally we were gonna work with Showfields on
Their live stream.
on their live stream, and I personally said I don't feel comfortable selling a bunch of white products in this
Well,
moment.
products that aren't founded
by
by
black or brown companies.
And it's because during this time,
It was like the George Floyd, it was just a lot going on. We were just sensitive, and I'm like, what can I do to give back to our community? Because it was just like, that's just the reality. That's how I felt. And so Coco's trying to sugarcoat me, but
no, but I'm more so saying the way you say it, it's like white-owned companies that aren't founded by Black people because we want to empower our people. And during the time of social media, like even now, we're just sensitive. If we're going to put something out in the world,
it has to be a message that was making change. And so Showfields, I love the Showfields team because I said, we all agreed that it wasn't the right time to work together in that light, but how can we come together to actually make change?
And so when I first pitched to them, I was like, hey, I know you have your live stream where we'll have an influencer. It's almost like QVC, but not QVC. Like we have an influencer that will like talk about the products, and then people can like buy it online while they're watching. And so I was like, well, can I bring on some Black-owned companies and we can like talk about their products? And they're like, well, better yet, how about you guys curate a pop-up in our store?
Love it.
So it was only supposed to be for a month, and then it went on for 2 months. And then Showfields brought on American Express as a partner. And so American Express came on, and that helped us let the partnership last up until holiday.
But what's exciting for us is that we specifically chose brands that, because there's a lot of amazing Black-owned companies that aren't necessarily like, they don't get the scale, they're not as, they don't get the scalable visibility as they should because they haven't had the resources or the access. And so we picked brands that were just as dope as our brands, but they may not be as popular. And there's so many brands that are like just as amazing. And so we chose those brands from like beauty companies to accessories to I think one clothing brand to home goods.
And something we didn't try to do, but what we did, it's all Black women.
Yeah, it's all women as well.
It's all women.
Amazing.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it because it wasn't on purpose to choose all Black women.
But there is a statistic that shows that like Black women are like some of the best entrepreneurs. And the sad part is like Black women are also the ones who don't get any funding when it comes to investments. And so that's the conversation. But what we're excited about, the whole point about curating this Black-owned shop was to kind of teach people that just because it's Black-owned doesn't mean it's only for Black people, and that don't make buying a Black-owned company or supporting a Black-owned company, don't make it a trend. And we saw that it was a trend. For a minute, everyone, I was talking to our other Black founders, and everyone's sales are just like out through the roof. And even now, everyone's sales are still growing. But there was one point where they were just like, whew, like straight, it was like this, straight up. And then now it's like, it's back to like it's curving up, but it's not going straight up. And I think that everyone don't make it a trend. We just have to take our time, be patient. And even when you are supporting these companies, be patient, because some of our friends that are founders and their sales went up like crazy and they weren't pressed. And so everyone's appreciative. We just have to know, let's just be patient. Some people just haven't had the access yet. They're trying to figure it out, and they appreciate it. But let's keep buying Black.
Yes, I love it. Now, on the pop-up side of things, you guys have, before Showfields, have done a lot of pop-ups like this. Obviously, the Showfields one is going really well. What is it about the pop-up experience that is so successful for your brand or just for other brands? What is it about that kind of shopping experience that you think really clicks with people?
What's very successful is that we actually get to meet a new customer and get introduced to a new customer. So that's always cool. I think one successful pop-up that we did was with Create and Cultivate. And we thought that we're like, oh, we'll just do a pop-up and maybe we'll just get eyes. But we actually got amazing sales and like almost sold out. And I think it was because we were around a customer that has never heard of Coco and Breezy Eyewear. And so when we do pop-ups, we love to be in environments that may not necessarily have heard of us, but it's almost like marketing / sales, because we're gaining new eyes and visibility and brand awareness, but then also, again, like there's new people that are being introduced to the brand and that are actually buying the product.
As much as I want to not ask you about this because everybody asks you about it, like I just can't not. you designed, yes, I know you know what I'm going to ask. You designed a pair of sunglasses for Prince. Like, okay, I was doing some background research for my interview today and I was prepping and I was like, they're so cool. I know they're so cool. And then I came up on that and I was like, okay, they're too cool for me. Like, they met Prince. What was that experience like, and what was it like for the brand to have that kind of exposure?
Oh my gosh.
Prince was rest in peace, Prince. He was so magical.
He was so sweet. Something really cool about him, kind of like what we do as well, is that like he really finds really good talent. No matter, he doesn't care about numbers. It's not about this influencer that has 1 million followers. Oh, they're so creative. If you see someone who has 20 followers, he like looks at them as being just as creative as someone who may have 1 million followers.
Yeah.
Like he was really good at finding talent. Like, it was insane, and that's something I really admired about him. But we definitely spent a lot of time with him before he passed away, and he was just like a unicorn. He was a creator genius. And the partnership, or even it wasn't technically a partnership, it was supposed to be a collaboration. And one time we were at dinner, and he was just like, stop talking to my lawyers. Don't make it a collaboration. I want you guys to keep all the sales, like buy a house and save me a room. And I was like, okay, cool.
Okay, Prince, you can have a room whenever you want. Yeah.
But he like pretty much endorsed them because he tweeted when we launched the glasses, he tweeted the link to our website directly to the frames. And sadly, that was like one of his last tweets.
Wow.
Like he tweeted it a couple of days before he passed away. And so we canceled all our marketing initiatives. We canceled all interviews because we don't believe in selling, we didn't want to benefit off of his death. And so we had every press outlet that never thought about us reaching out to us, but we were like, we're selling a product right now. We don't feel comfortable talking about our Prince story while we have a product on the market. And so we denied every press interview from like the biggest news outlets. And we also canceled all of our social media marketing. And we said, we're just going to let Prince's tweet, let that be. We're going to let that live, and he ended up selling out within 2 days. But it was crazy. Like we have so many awesome stories with him, but I just remember making the glasses and him telling us, I need glasses to cover my third eye. And I was like, what? Like, you need glasses to do what? He's like, yeah, I want some glasses that cover my third eye. And we were like, okay, gotcha.
All right.
We'll come up with some concepts. we came up with a few different concepts, and when we saw him, we didn't know that he was going to wear them on SNL.
Yeah.
Actually, last minute, he invited us to SNL, and we were there. So we were there, but it was funny because
cool.
we were there, like, the people that were working backstage, they were, like, treating us so nice. Or not even backstage, people that were working, like, in the seating area, they were just, like, treating us so nice and, like, taking us through these pathways in the building that were, like, secret. And then I realized my sticker on my shirt said, guess the Prince. And I was like, that's why they're being so
nice. That's so amazing. I love how you guys are so focused on, yes, it was Prince, and you guys have also worked with Lady Gaga, and like Alicia Keys has bought your sunglasses before, but you seem so committed to the relationships, and that's what I think is so valuable, and what I'm hoping that the listeners and the watchers are really getting from your story is you guys focus so much on relationships and people and the story and what it all means versus the metrics and the sales and the likes that you get and what you could possibly do. And that's, I think, the shift that's happening. It's happening in e-commerce. It's happening in retail. It's happening across commerce in general. Is I don't really think consumers want to just buy from brands anymore that push out products and don't really care about anything else. They want to buy from people like you and like Rihanna, like you mentioned.
I think that what retailers or people that have a store or a brand, what you should think about is that you need to unlearn your old habits, because just like you said, that like people are tired of buying from a company that they don't feel that energy, like they don't understand the story. And just to put a product out there right now, like the customer behavior is changing. People are trying to find out like who is on your leadership board, like how many people of color do you have on your leadership board, how many women do you have, like how do you treat your employees. Like customers are really like diving in right now, And as much as I don't like cancel culture is such a huge thing right now. But I also think that there also are some companies that we don't need. You know what I'm saying? That if you're not bringing that type of energy where you're doing something to like help the world, and if you're just making things worse, we kind of don't need you. But I think there's you know what I'm saying? It's a truth. Like I feel like we only need brands and companies. If you have a voice and a platform, do something good. Like you don't have to be like the most woke person, but like do something good, please. At least like the internet is there to do research. Like we're all doing research and understanding this crazy world that we're in and unlearning old behaviors, whether that's racism, whether if that's old like marketing strategies, whether if that's freaking even like your personal everyday life. Like we have to learn how to unlearn a lot of stuff, but you have to want to do that yourself first. And that's the only way to grow as a founder, as a company, as an ally, as a person, all of that.
Yeah, I feel like you just gave the perfect answer to my next question. So now I'm just going to make Coco answer it instead, because I think you just defined this. So these events are called Resilient Retail, and it's something I'm asking all the guests that are on, but I really wanted you guys to be the first guest because I think that you embody resilience in every single thing you do. I think what you just said about unlearning behaviors is resilience. And right now with the pandemic, with Black Lives Matter, all of this is coming together. And I think the biggest lesson is like, stop doing what you used to do because the world is changing, and like get on board because it's gonna keep changing because it's about time. Like, thank goodness it's changing. So Coco, to you, what does resilience mean as a person and as a brand, as a business?
Well, it means me. I'm just kidding.
I loved that.
No, I think resilience to me means that you can go through a situation, extremely bad or extremely good, and you find the good and the bad out of it, and you learn from it. And you have to be a very resilient person to be an entrepreneur because it's not always going to be easy and it's not always going to go your way. You know, and I think that when you have this sense of resilience, it helps you get through those and it helps you actually learn from those experiences. I look back at so many times where I had to be resilient and I love it. I wouldn't be who I am today if I wasn't resilient because I've gone through a lot, but I haven't let it, I let that be just part of my story. Like that's part of the movie that will come out in like 20 years about our story.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna say 10. In 10 years. And I think
10 years.
The way I live life and the way like the challenges, I just think about it in my mind, in my head, we're just writing a book and we're writing a script for other people to watch. Like we love a good challenge. I feel like a good challenge just makes us who we are. It's all about perspective, how you choose to handle it. I try to handle everything with grace. Of course, we're all not perfect, but I definitely try to always find the best in the challenges that come our way.
Wow, I think that was the most beautiful possible answer that you guys could have given and the perfect thing to wrap on. Thank you so much for coming and speaking to us and sharing your story and sharing your thoughts. I think this is an invaluable conversation that needs to keep happening, and I am so honored that I was able to meet with you guys today.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's such an honor. You have such beautiful energy. And also Shopify, I love Shopify. Has been like y'all have been holding us down for a good. Everybody can go to the Shopify homepage. It has our logo at the bottom. I don't know who chose that. I feel fire. I feel so special that our company name is there. But Shopify has been such oh my gosh, it would make me cry. I feel so grateful that even like we're on some ads, our glasses. Yeah, like you guys got that license. You say you support small businesses. Yeah, even like you guys supported a pop-up shop that we did. Didn't we do a pop-up shop with Shopify? That's how we got introduced to Showfield. So I just want to like say shout out to Shopify because y'all have been about that life since everyone else just jumped on the bandwagon. Yeah. Y'all been about it for years. So I appreciate it so much. It helped us tremendously. So thank you.